Hey, my loves. Okay, so let's talk about the story element theme. Okay, so you guys know what the theme of the story is. Think about it for a second, see if you can remember. What is the theme of a story? The theme is the moral or the lesson that we should learn by reading it, right? These are typically fables and they're written to tell us, hey, here's a lesson that you should learn. And it's a life lesson. Okay, they're not teaching us a math lesson, they're not teaching us a reading lesson. They're teaching us a life lesson, something that we can use in our lives to help us be better people. Okay, so the theme of a story is the moral or the lesson. I'm going to read you a couple examples and we're going to talk about that and see if we can figure out what the lesson is we're supposed to learn from these things here in a minute. But it's going to look like I'm just staring at the camera because I'm going to have to look at a different screen to look at the PowerPoint because, well, Miss Jones is not good at this stuff. But let's talk about one that you guys all know. Okay, so you know the fable of the tortoise and the hare, right? So the tortoise and the hare are having a race, and the tortoise is like super into himself, and he's like, I can beat you, no problem. I can take a nap under this tree and still beat you, right? And the tortoise, he's slower, and nobody thinks he's going to be able to win this race. But he keeps at it, he's persistent, and he keeps going, and he doesn't take a nap under a tree because he's not full of himself. And guess what? He wins the race because the rabbit just he thought I can beat you, no problem, right? He underestimated the turtle. So what is the theme that we learn from that? Slow and steady wins the race, right? Keep on trying, never give up. Don't give up even when the odds are stacked against you. Even when the odds are stacked against you, you can still win if you try your best, right? Okay, so that's the theme or the lesson that we're learning from the tortoise and the hare. So let's read some examples together, and then we will talk about what the theme is of that story. As soon as I can find it. Okay. All right, so let me read to you, and you be thinking of the theme as I read, okay? I looked at all the candy I could buy. I had the dollar right here in my hand, but suddenly I didn't feel hungry. I wish that I hadn't stolen that dollar. I wish that I'd taken the money from my brother's bank. I wish that I hadn't taken the money from my brother's bank. I don't think I want to buy anything today, I muttered quietly to the clerk. Then I ran from the store. I had learned something important. So what did we learn from that? What's the theme of that story? Think about it for a second. So we know that he stole some money from his brother to go and buy some candy, and then he started to feel guilty about it, and he thought, this is probably not a good idea. And then he thought better of it, and he ran from the store, and he didn't buy any candy with that money. So what did he learn? It's better to be honest, right? It's better to be honest than to get something that you didn't earn. Okay, so that's a life lesson that we can use. That theme or that moral we can use in our own lives to say, it's not good to steal. Okay, it's better to earn things on your own, isn't it? Okay, let's look at another example. Okay, we knew that it was time to set the butterfly free. We had seen it make its chrysalis and emerge. Then it had flown away around in the cage, trying to stretch its wings. Although we felt a little sad, we opened the lid to the cage one evening. The butterfly seemed confused and didn't leave at first. Then, in one burst of zigzag fluttering, it erupted from the cage and flew all the way to the end of the yard and down the hill by the school. That was the right thing to do, Aiden said. I know, I answered, even though I already worried about the butterfly. What would it eat? How would it live? So what lesson, what theme did we learn from that story? Okay, they had the butterfly caged and it seemed really sad in the cage. And so eventually they set it free. My phone. Don't they know I'm filming a video? Guess not. So it's better to let things go, right? It's better to let things go and let them live in the wild where they're supposed to live than to keep that poor thing caged up. So remember, the theme of the story is the moral or the lesson that we are supposed to learn. Not every story has a theme. Okay, not every story does. Sometimes stories, if they're long, they could have a bunch of themes. Okay, so the Tale of Despero, for example, has the theme of for Despero, it's never give up, right? You can be whatever you want to be. For Roscaro, it is to learn to let things go and to learn to be happy with who he is. So there can be more than one theme in stories. Remember, theme is a moral or a lesson. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. Pray that the ghost toilet doesn't get me.